Hello and welcome to the Afterlife Card Club. I'm your host, RareTotem, and today's episode is a special one. This is a special exhibition game in which Snail and I will be facing off with two thematic decks, recreating an important moment in Cyberpunk history. We wanted to play a thematic game centered around Johnny Silverhand and his rebellious rockers taking on the Corpo Crown Jewel Atom Smasher and the top secret Arasaka tech that is the Relic. Before getting into the gameplay, let's take a quick look at both decks featured in this episode. Starting with mine. This is the Relisher deck, a mono-yellow deck built for one purpose: to field the powerful Atom Smasher unit as quickly as possible and overwhelm the rival with deadly force. We have two routes to get to this objective based on our luck with our opening hand and draws throughout the game. Plan A revolves around equipping the powerful relic gear to one of our cheap units early on in the game. We then are aiming to discard a copy of Atom Smasher into our trash pile via the heist. Once we have these pieces into place, all we need to do is ensure that the unit holding the relic is defeated, allowing us to play Smasher incredibly early, potentially, and simply beat down the rival with sheer power from that point. If Plan A fails, we have a backup. The bootleg Black Sapphire show allows us to ramp up our resource pool quickly to bring out Smasher the honest way. It's a slower approach, but requires less variables to work out. To add to our deck's sheer power, we have Jackie here to help us out. We've also got a single copy of the Max Tac Suppression team in the deck that we might draw into to help slow down any Go Solo Legends the rival plans to use. The rest of our units are weaklings who are here to be used as fodder. Because we're relying on 5 powerful cards to carry us to victory, this deck is running a plethora of removal options to help deal with the problem units on our rival's board. Live with the Aftermath and Safety Override can help not only take out our rival's units, but can help accelerate the defeat of our relic-carrying Pipsqueak, thus bringing our big brute to bear. Snail will be playing the Rock Smash deck. This is a double yellow-red deck centered around the Johnny Silverhand Legend card. This legend can buff up rocker units and allow them to make attacks the same turn that they're played, giving him a strong boost in tempo. Since this effect gives rockers a bonus in power, and because we wanted it to be a themed game, his deck is full of rocker units that can take full advantage of this ability. The rockers in question are Carry Uridine, who can help provide some extra draw power each turn, the vanilla Rock and Rocker Boy with a strong 8 power and low 5 cost, and the Night City legend himself in unit form, Johnny Silverhand, who is this deck's ace card and is capable of wiping entire boards on his own. For beatdown backup, this deck employs Jackie's power as well. Of note in our program and gear categories, we have some cheap equipment to help power up our units. We have Industrial Assembly to buff our gig dice up to help those in the deck get their abilities off. And one of the more noteworthy cards in the deck, Appetite for Destruction, which can allow the stealing of gigs when defeating units. Now I know this is a 4 red RAM card, but we wanted it included in this for the theme. This game is all in good fun, so we decided to look beyond that RAM rule for its inclusion. For those familiar with the story, you may know the canon fate of Johnny Silverhand as he stands up to Atom Smasher and the Arasaka Corporation, but history may be rewritten here in today's episode. So kick back and relax with a refreshing drink here at the Afterlife Card Club as we turn on the Cyberpunk History channel to watch the reenactment of that rocker rebel raid and see if Smasher can silence the samurai once and for all. Alright guys, here we are in this matchup here. This is an exciting one to watch. I get to go first in this game. I roll my d4, got a 1 to start, which is nice. I sell a card, and I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 and play a Sketchy Ripper. Pretty good start off for my deck. I'm trying to get my relics found as quickly as possible, so starting with my tool to dig for that is great. Snail is next, and he spends all 4 to play Carry Uridine. He rolls his gig die for turn because he forgot to do it at the beginning. He gets an 8, so he already has a high enough gig value for Carry's ability. So he has a strong start too. My d6 is rolled. I get a max gig at 6, so a pretty crazy min and a max. That's pretty cool there. I am going through my hand right now trying to figure out what to play. I'm already worried that he has Carry Uridine with the ability to start drawing him a ton of cards. So I'm going to waste no time here. I am spending all 5 of my eddies after selling a relic to play the bootleg Black Sapphire show. And thankfully I have an even and odd gig, so I get to draw 2 cards after selling the top card of my deck. So I'm going to go for the slower ramp option in this game. I sold a relic, I just didn't have the other tools in place, namely the heist, in order to try to put an Atom Smasher in my trash pile. So that's what I was looking for. I did not open with that, so I have to go with plan B on this game. Especially since he has Carry, who can already start drawing him a ton of cards. I'm going to swing in with my Sketchy Ripper. Now, I'm not stealing any gigs, but I do get to find a piece of gear and add it to my hand, which I pulled a Mandibular Upgrade there, so nothing too fancy at the moment, but it's something. I pass the turn over to Snail. He readies up, he draws, and he rolls his gig die, and damn, he rolls a 10. So he has 2 gigs above an 8 for carry, and a max gig at that with a 10, so he's sitting really strong here. He's got 5 eddies to work with. He spends 4 for a second carry. He calls his first legend carry, fitting, with his last eddy spent. He swings into me with a carry Uridyne and steals my 6. So he's already got 3 gig dice. He has 2 carries on the board. Both are able to either draw him 4 cards if he wants to, or steal 2 gigs, or any combination of that. Is not looking good already for me here. I'm gonna have to make something shake pretty quickly here. I got an 8 with my gig die I rolled. And I am selling a Mandibular Upgrade, the one that I just got from Sketchy Ripper last turn. Let's see what I throw down. I'm going with Augmented Negotiators. Try to get some blocks in here to stop any of his attacks and discard cards from his hand, even though it's not going to matter much thanks to all those carry triggers he's going to be able to pull off. I'm spending 3 more here, and I'm kind of torn between what to play, but I go ahead and I double up myself. He's got 2 carries, I've got 2 Augmented Negotiators, so we really do have the Rockers versus the Corpos here in full effect. I'm swinging with my Sketchy Ripper, going through to look for some more gear. Unfortunately, I had a complete whiff on that. Not much I could do else at this point, so I pass the turn to him. He rolls his gig, it gets a 4. He readies up his carry there, and he remembers that he can reroll that with his carry legend. He does, and you've got to be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me, that's an 8. Yeah, so he gets to draw a card thanks to carry the legend, and he's got 6 that he can spend for anything he needs, which he's doing right now for a Jackie. So he's set up beautifully in this match. He's got 2 cards that can be used for draw power, and he's got the Jackie there to just be a beat stick. He's swinging in, he draws 2 with the first carry. He attacks my Sketchy Ripper with the second to keep me from cycling through to find a relic. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for me, just based off of the startup here. I mean, he's got big beefy Jackie out, he's got a draw engine, an insane one at that. And I just got 2 little small blockers at the moment, and I have to try to get Smasher out the old-fashioned way. My gig die, I reroll with my carry. And I do have a River Ward that was called as well. So I'll be able to put gear on stuff pretty quickly in a pinch, or just for 1 eddy less than I normally would have to spend on it. Alright, next play is, funny enough, 3rd Augmented Negotiators here. I promise I did not stack the deck. All 3 of my Negotiators are out, and I throw out a Bombus. So now I'm set up for a really fun play where I could just play some Hot Potato with a blocker ability. I also called my last legend Dum Dum and drew a card there. I'm having one of my Negotiators swing in so I can at least steal 1 gig and just kind of keep the playing field even there. I don't want him to get too far ahead and throw a bunch of blockers out and stop me from getting anything going. He readies up, he rolls his gig, and it's another max value. A D6 hits a 6, so man, he is just rolling hot in this game. He's selling an after party at Lizzie's. And after a little bit of deliberation, he's going to spend 3 to play his Appetite for Destruction card, the one that we agreed to allow to be used in the game for a little bit more flavor. He spends 2 more to play a Bombus of his own to get a blocker on the field for him, so I can't easily sneak in and grab a gig die or 2. And now all he's going to have to do is swing into my negotiators there and kill it, and he'll get to get a gig die off of me for that thanks to the destruction card. What he did there is just swing at my gigs directly, and I allowed it to happen. The second one here, he is debating on if he wants to try to attack my negotiators that's spent or not. And either way, no matter what his target was going to be, my play was going to be the exact same thing. But he decides to go ahead and instead of attacking me, he's going to spend that carry to draw 2 instead. Alright, so he spends 1 eddy here, and he's equipping a Mantis Blades to Jackie to boost him up even more, and he's swinging at me. And I'm going to go ahead and do some chain blocking. I divert the attack once, twice, and 3 times to my Bombus. What I'm doing here is diverting the attack multiple times with each blocker spent, and I'm going to go ahead and spend my final 2 eddies to play a safety override. Now my Bombus is defeated in combat, and his Jackie is also defeated thanks to the override's ability. And because the 2 augmented negotiators used their blocker ability, even though they weren't the ones that took the attack, their abilities still go off and he had to discard 2 cards there. So if you notice, I had 3 blockers, all of them spent to divert the 1 attack, and I got 2 procs off of that, and his Jackie is defeated. So I managed to keep the momentum in my favor, as my board state's looking more and more intimidating. He goes ahead and he spends carry, and he plays all his loss, and he manages to pull his Johnny Silverhand unit, so I'm expecting that to come out next turn to try to wipe up my board, because they're all corpos and can be instantly defeated by him. I roll my gig as it's passed to me, and I reroll it with my carry's ability. And I'm a little bit desperate, so I'm spending 5 eddies to play another bootleg Black Sapphire show, so I've ramped twice in this game here. I have plenty of resources, I just don't have the cards I need, and that's the big reason why I decided to play this, is to get those 2 draws off of it. So I'm looking desperately for a Relic, for a Heist, to get Atom Smasher in my discard pile and put him onto the field, or just a Smasher in general. I have enough to play him almost here. I spend 3 and I'm playing Dexter here, and my strategy right now is to try to cut off his ability to draw so many cards with the carries. Unfortunately, my Augmented Negotiator chain blocking is going to be pretty ineffective with that draw engine he has, so reducing all of his gig die down to below 8 is the name of the game for me at this point. So every time I swing with Dexter, I'll be able to reduce one of his gig die even more. I'm also equipping a faceplate to one of these augmented negotiators to attack with, because that will also reduce his gig die values, but also draw a card for me, as long as I have 3 gigs, so that way I can try to dig for that Atom Smasher I need to wipe out his board and secure the game win. So I get to steal, because he decided not to block that with this Bombus. He rolls another max gig. It's a 4 for his D4 there. Incredible rolling in this game. After he finishes readying up, he's starting out strong here. I'm expecting Johnny Silverhand, but first he decides to call a legend, and he gets Victor Vector, so he's going through the top 5 of his deck. Get 2 gear cards that cost 2 or less and add them to his hand. He only has 1 Mandibula Upgrade, the rest are getting bottom decked. So he can give blocker to one of those carries. He could play Johnny Silverhand next turn and make that a blocker. I don't know, he's got a lot of plays he could make here with this. What he's doing is he's going to go ahead and just give that mandibular upgrade to one of his carry Uridine units. It has more than enough attack to hold off any assaults I try to make with my units. He spends 2 more to throw a second Bombus out there, so he's got a wall developing. And he's swinging in with his carry, and I've decided to block that with my Augmented Negotiators because he's trying to go after my spent one. So I go ahead, I do not do the chaining here, and I allow it to be defeated, and he has to discard 1 card. He's currently debating on if he wants to swing at me directly or take out my Augmented Negotiator that's already spent. Now I do have one that's still unspent that I can just bend to divert the attack, which I've done. He went ahead and he discarded his Johnny Silverhand, and I'm down to just 1 blocker left. And because he got rid of that one Johnny, I'm assuming he has more than one in his hand. So it's getting down to crunch time for me here. His board state looks very daunting. I roll a 4, and now, moment of truth time here. Do I have the Smasher? Of course I don't, but I can try to find him by attacking with Augmented Negotiators. That lets me to lower his gig values even more, to bring those down below 8, and it allows me to draw a card and hope I get the top deck I need to clear out his board. Unfortunately I didn't at this point, but I do get a heist off. And there he is, Adam's Smasher is heisted into my trash pile. I also get to secure a nice little Zetatech faceplate, so that's cool. It would have been nice to secure a relic in my hand, but that's alright. I got 1 piece of the puzzle in there now. I just need to get a relic into play and have that unit be defeated. Now I'm saving myself a little bit of eddies by spending River Ward and using his ability to attach the gear card to my Dexter for free. And now that my Dexter has a Zetatech faceplate, when he attacks in here, I get to alter a gig twice. Dexter's now also at a 6 power thanks to Zetatech faceplate, so I can easily defeat that carry if he tries to block it. Now the Bombus ate the attack because he knew that I was going after his carry, and he is down to just his 2 carries left on his side of the board. So I'm expecting something big on his next turn here, but I managed to even the playing field just a little bit, buy myself some time. I'm looking for that relic though. I spend 2 and I put a Bombus on the board, give me another blocker just in case. And I'm spending 3 more and putting a second Dexter. Man, what a bunch of duplicates in this game. Dexter gets to reduce one of his gig values yet again, so now he has no more gigs above an 8. So his draw engine has effectively been shut off thanks to all of the gig manipulation that the Zetatech faceplates and Dexter Deshawn's have offered for me. Now, he was thinking that he could just spend 1 to call a legend, but he said he forgot to do the trigger, and he decided to just maintain that. I was going to let him do it if he wanted to, because I didn't care, who cares? It's a fun, casual game, but he decided, you know what, I missed the trigger, so I'm not going to do it, so an honorable decision there. He rolls, and Jesus, it's a 20. It's a critical roll. Oh my god. Carry gets the proc off and he draws 3 cards, so even though I turned off his damn draw engine, he still comes out with 3 cards drawn. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What crazy rolls. Alright, so at this point he's got plenty of resources. I'm fully expecting to see Johnny Silverhand. There's the legend version. Now are we gonna get the unit? He decides to first attack with carry, which I'm going to have my Bombus absorb the attack. And he's spending 2 for another Bombus. And he's spending 4 more for 6th Street Recruits, so he's just going wide with his board right now. His carry is swinging into me, and I'm going to go ahead and block that with my Dexter Deshawn that has a Zetatech faceplate. Now my Dexter is defeated because he gained a power boost from his Johnny Silverhand, but because we had a disparity there in the gigs over 10, Dexter's defeat ability procced and allowed me to draw 2 cards, so it just gets me one step closer to what I need to win the game. I'm opening my turn by swinging in with Dexter Deshawn, and his Bombus is going to block that. I'm reducing his D20 down to a 19. It's going to take a whole lot to get that thing down to below an 8. It's just not going to happen in this game, so it's kind of pointless, so I'm just going to try to steal it instead. Augmented Negotiator swings in. He has no blockers available, so that's the die I'm going to take. So I want to keep those carries from drawing a ton of cards on his next turn. And because that Zetatake Faceplate procced, I got to draw a card, and I'm spending 5 here because I drew it at long last. The Relic, and I'm putting that on my Dexter Deshawn, and now I'm set up. All I need to do is have that unit get defeated, and then Atom Smasher is going to make his appearance and defeat everything on the board. And here is that play coming a little early. I decide when it happens by playing Live with the Aftermath. Both players have to defeat 1 unit. He chooses a unit, and I choose my Dexter Deshawn with the Relic equipped. And because he's defeated, the Relic procs, and I get to bring a unit with 9 cost or less from my trash pile onto the playing field, and it's Atom Smasher. And when he gets played, all other units are defeated. Now, one thing I didn't do here is put that Dexter that had the Relic on it back into my deck. It actually gets bottom decked when it's defeated, but I forgot to do that, and it kind of doesn't even matter, so who cares? I played Atom Smasher, so I'm pretty pumped at this point. So I go ahead and I sell another card here, After Party at Lizzie's. All I have to worry about now is some kind of spot removal he might have. That would stink for me, but I can easily just punch with him next turn and steal 2 gigs and secure the game win. But turn goes to him. The board is empty except for Atom Smasher, and oh my goodness, look at this. What a play. He gets his Johnny Silverhand out for a nice lore-accurate showdown. Johnny and Atom Smasher stand alone on the battlefield here. And look at this standoff between these 2 legends of Night City. I promise we did not plan it this way, but it was really cool to see this happen. It goes to my turn, and it is overtime, so I'm technically winning right here because I steal 2 gigs, and I have majority of gig dice, so at this point the game is over. But just for a little bit of fun, I spend 9 eddies here to play my second Atom Smasher and defeat everything else, leaving only Atom Smasher left alive. Well folks, that concludes the game, and it seems that history was doomed to repeat itself once more as Atom Smasher closes out the game and snuffs out this rebellion after making a grand entrance. This was a fun one to play, and I hope it was an entertaining game to watch. More gameplay content is in the works with a fresh new perspective that I'm sure will be entertaining and perhaps educational. I hope to see you there, and as always, thank you so much for watching this episode and all the support you've given to my channel. Till next time folks, goodbye.